You're holding your baby, but something feels different. They're fussier than usual, more restless. You had a stressful day at work, bills to pay, deadlines looming, yet you haven't said a word. How could your 6-month-old possibly know about your internal turmoil? They're just a baby, right? You try to smile, speak softly, but your baby seems to see right through your facade. Their tiny hands reach for you, but they seem uncertain, as if sensing something invisible. You wonder if you're imagining things. Can babies really pick up on emotions we try to hide? Your heart rate is elevated, your breathing shallow. You think these changes go completely unnoticed. But babies are like tiny emotional detectives, constantly gathering clues about their world through you. The connection between you and your baby runs deeper than words, deeper than conscious thought. What you're about to discover will change how you understand your relationship with your little one forever. Harvard researchers have documented something remarkable. Babies can detect parental stress within 30 seconds of exposure. Dr. Ruth Feldman's groundbreaking studies reveal that stress hormones actually transmit between parent and infant. When parents experience elevated cortisol levels, babies' cortisol levels rise in synchronized patterns within hours. This phenomenon, called emotional contagion, occurs through multiple biological pathways that science is just beginning to understand. Stanford University's Attachment Laboratory has identified 3 primary channels through which stress spreads to infants. The first channel involves facial microexpressions that babies read with extraordinary precision, even at 2 months old. Voice tone represents the second pathway. Babies detect stress through subtle vocal frequency changes humans barely notice. The third channel operates through physical touch. Stressed parents unconsciously alter their handling patterns and pressure. Mirror neurons in infant brains literally mirror the emotional states they observe in their primary caregivers constantly. Cambridge neuroscientists discovered that this mirroring begins in utero, making the connection even more profound. Chronic parental stress can alter infant sleep patterns, feeding behaviors, and even immune system development permanently. Research indicates that babies of chronically stressed mothers show increased crying, reduced social engagement, and developmental delays. The infant's developing nervous system uses parental emotional states as a template for its own regulatory patterns. Stress hormones cross the blood-brain barrier in infants more easily than adults, amplifying the impact significantly. Epigenetic research shows that maternal stress can actually alter gene expression in developing infants during critical periods. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis in babies synchronizes with their mother's stress response system within 48 hours. Neuroscience reveals that consistent stress exposure reshapes developing neural pathways, creating lifelong patterns in infants. However, the remarkable plasticity of infant brains means positive changes in parental stress create immediate improvements. Studies demonstrate that when parents learn stress management techniques, infant cortisol levels normalize within 2 weeks. This scientific foundation reveals that managing your own emotional state directly impacts your baby's lifelong development trajectory. The famous still face experiment reveals how quickly babies detect and respond to changes in parental emotional availability. Within 30 seconds of parental emotional withdrawal, infants show measurable increases in stress behaviors and cortisol production. Dr. Edward Tronick's research demonstrates that babies actively work to re-engage emotionally unavailable parents through escalating behaviors. When re-engagement fails, infants enter a protective shutdown mode, learning that emotional connection may be unreliable. Consider the metaphor of emotional contagion like a radio frequency. Babies are constantly tuned to their parents' broadcast. When parents broadcast anxiety, babies receive and amplify that signal through their underdeveloped emotional regulation systems. Case study analysis shows that infants of parents with untreated anxiety disorders develop similar patterns by age 2. The brain's primary function during infancy involves learning safety versus danger from parental emotional cues exclusively. Chronic stress exposure during this critical period programs the infant's threat detection system to remain permanently hypervigilant. Think of your baby's brain as a growing garden. The emotional climate you provide determines what flourishes. Chronic parental stress creates an environment where fear-based neural pathways grow strong, while curiosity networks weaken. Longitudinal studies track children whose parents received early stress intervention versus those who did not receive support. Children whose parents learned stress management showed superior emotional regulation, better social skills, and higher academic achievement. Conversely, children of chronically stressed parents showed increased anxiety disorders, learning difficulties, and behavioral problems. The Romanian orphan studies provide dramatic evidence of how early emotional environments shape brain architecture permanently. Children raised without consistent emotional attunement showed measurable differences in brain structure lasting into adulthood. However, remarkable recovery occurred when children received consistent, emotionally attuned caregiving during the first 2 years. This research emphasizes that your emotional presence during daily moments creates your baby's fundamental sense of security. Every feeding, diaper change, and bedtime represents an opportunity to reinforce safety or inadvertently transmit stress. The accumulated impact of thousands of these micro-interactions literally sculpts your baby's brain architecture throughout their first year. Now you understand the profound responsibility and incredible opportunity you hold in your hands every single day. Your stress management isn't selfish. It's one of the most important gifts you can give your developing child. Start with simple breathing exercises when you feel overwhelmed. Your baby will immediately sense your increased calm. Create a daily 5-minute mindfulness practice. This brief investment pays dividends in your baby's emotional development. When you notice stress building, pause and consciously soften your facial expression before interacting with your baby. Seek support when needed. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's wisdom that protects your baby's developmental foundation. Remember that perfect parenting doesn't exist. Your baby needs your authentic presence, not your perfect performance. Your baby's future capacity for joy, resilience, and healthy relationships begins with the emotional foundation you're building now. Every moment of calm you cultivate becomes a gift that echoes through your child's entire lifetime. You are not just caring for a baby. You are nurturing the seeds of a future human being's emotional world.